Hello, it's DelusionDispeller here with my little friend Mimi, and I just wanted to introduce you to her a little bit and kind of show you her temperament. Mimi, who her actual name is Me to Me, she is the love of my life, one of them. My boyfriend, of course, is the main love of my life. The Me to Me loves to be sung to. Right, Reach? Not really singing like real songs, but just weird sounds like me. I don't know if you can tell that she's hugging me and she's loving on me over here because she loves hearing her name put to music. She also loves what I'm doing to her, giving her a Thai massage of a sort. Anyway, this is Mimi, and I thought I would also answer some questions that have been put to me in email. One of the questions was, what about when a narcissist withholds affection? I got cat hair in my mouth now. Narcissists withhold affection, I believe, because affection was withheld from them as children. It's a way of being the victimizer towards the victim as an adult. The reason they would use a withdrawal of affection is to punish you. Sometimes it's to create competition between people in the family, where one child gets all the hugs and the love and the other child gets mistreated. A really good example of this would be a child called It. If you haven't read it, darn cat hairs. If you haven't read it, it's a really good read, but very difficult to read. So if you can't handle a lot of gross abuse type stuff, don't read the book. But basically, the guy in the book was horribly abused by his egg donor, and his siblings were not as abused as he was, although there has been tell that the brother that he left behind then got abused. He was scapegoated after this guy left, so that happens sometimes, I guess. But the withdrawal of affection thing is a means of control. It's to make you feel like you're a bad person. It's to make you feel like you've disappointed the narcissist or the abuser. That's why they use that. I'm trying to think. There were some other questions you guys posed to me in email. I might have to open up my email here and check them out again so I make sure I answer them all. But I did want to get to that one at least, so that, at least I made an attempt at that. I mean, narcissists use a lot of different tactics. Withdrawal of affection is just one of their many. They use bait and switch, which means they promise you things, but then as soon as you do what they want you to do, they don't deliver on their promises. They do double binding a lot, where they'll tell you to do something for them and they make it impossible for you to do it, and then they blame you for not doing it. The example of this I use the most is the cup of coffee, where the narcissist will tell the child, for instance, honey, go get me a cup of coffee, and I want 2 creams and 2 sugars. Well, the child goes and gets the coffee, and as the child is going, the mother trips them and then starts screaming at them, saying, look what you did, or look what you made me do, you clumsy kid. Why don't you pay attention to where you're going? I asked you for a cup of coffee. Can't you do a simple thing like going and getting me a cup of coffee? That's one thing they'll do. Another thing they'll do is the child will go get the cup of coffee and bring it back, and they'll say, how many creams and sugars did you put in this? And of course the kid's scared, because if he gives the wrong answer, he's in big trouble. If he gives the right answer, the mother's going to find some fault in it anyways. So It's a major double bind. And the child answers honestly, 2 creams and 2 sugars. That's what you wanted, Mommy. And the mother goes into a screaming rage. I never have 2 creams and 2 sugars in my coffee. You don't even know what you're talking about. You didn't listen to me. Why don't you ever listen to what I said? I said 1 cream and 1 sugar. Now go do it right. She might still trip the kid and then yell at the kid for falling with the coffee. The point is, narcissists, you can never win with them. The best thing with a narcissist is to get the heck away from them if you can, and definitely tell a safe person if you can't. You may be a child that's underage, that the narcissist is your parent and they're supporting you, and you have no way to get out. Then you need to tell somebody some of these things that are going on. Now, one of the biggest things that I hear from people, especially people that follow the Bible, is, well, the Bible says honor your father and mother, or the Bible says, you know, you're supposed to love your husband, love your wife, whatever. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to love someone who is, as we say, out for blood. They want no good thing for you. Every time you try to do good for them, they mess it up, and then they blame you that it's messed up. That's a double bind. I personally don't believe God means for us to be mistreated and abused like that. I don't believe He means for anybody to. But, you know, in some countries, there's nothing you can do about it. That's the way of the country, and unfortunately, those poor people suffer miserably, and at the hands of not only narcissists, sadists. And that was the other thing somebody asked me about the sadism, difference between narcissism and sadism. I think it's all in the motive. Sadists torment and hurt people and kill people for the pleasure of it. They get pleasure out of people's pain. I'm not so sure the narcissist does all the time unless they are also sadists. But narcissists generally are just trying to stuff in something to soothe the agonizing, gnawing thing that they feel inside of themselves that cries out for the narcissistic supply. That empty feeling, that worthless feeling, that feeling of, if I don't attach to this person, I'm a nobody. That feeling of, I have to be told how wonderful I am, or I'm not wonderful. They rely very heavily on other people being their mirrors, whereas sadists, they don't care if you're their mirror or not. You could imitate them perfectly. You could give them all the narcissistic supply in the world. They would take that and destroy you anyway, because they're just evil, sadistic, mean people that derive pleasure out of your pain and suffering. So I think it's the difference in extremes and the difference in motives behind it that classify sadism versus narcissism. So anyways, that's some insights I have on those two topics. I'll keep on reading your emails and try to answer some more. Hope you enjoyed the kitty. Thanks for watching. Love you all. Bye-bye for now.